One of the biggest advantages and the most fun I have in my work is that I get to see inside a lot of organizations, from associations, small businesses, large businesses. I've gotten to meet with different teams, experience different leadership styles, both within my own team as well as the boards that I work with and different systems. And what's cool is when you work across different organizations, you start to see patterns. You get to see what actually works. And most importantly, you get to see the ideas that are worth applying between the different organizations. So, most businesses, and whether it's an association or a coaching business, they kind of have their own bubble. They develop their own systems, habits, and ways of doing things. And, most people assume that the way they're doing everything is, well, it's the way it's been done. And, that awful statement of, well, we've always done it this way, right? But when you have the opportunity to step outside that organization, or someone else has the opportunity to take a step out and look back in, you start to be able to realize that there might be hundreds of ways to solve the same problem. Some organizations, well, really each organization can have a strength and many strengths. They might be how they onboard, or they're great at documenting, or they may have a very strong leadership structure or accountability. But if you take a step back and look at each of these businesses, you may realize that for your own business, that you can take a piece of one business and a piece of another to make your business even better. So what happens when you are working with someone that actually is able to have some of this insight is that they can help you connect these ideas. They can help you try things on for size. So for us, we may have an association that has a really great committee structure. I've seen that throughout my career, that they're creating accountability for one another. They put on great programs. Another organization may really have had a really good decision-making process, and that you can see, I saw that with one of my startups. And some of the larger companies, there's such a strong structure overall. And individually, these are great and powerful ideas, but when you bring them together, it makes it an organization even stronger. They become a little bit more, an organization becomes more resilient, and sometimes, and hopefully, more thoughtful in how they operate. And instead of inventing everything from scratch, and I see this oftentimes, that before there's a really good structure in place, it feels like you're reinventing the wheel for every time you do something. So, and I forgot to mention that if you want to put a comment in the chat, please let me know. And I should take a step back and introduce myself. I'm Linda Guild, and I am the CEO of the Elephant Circle Management, as well as the Guild Associates, which is an association management company. And I work with associations and small businesses and coaches. And so I've really had the opportunity to work across organizations and to be able to observe what's working. I'm, listening through different listservs and online of what's working for other ones, and then are able to help organizations apply some of those same principles into their own businesses. So when you're able to build on and take, it's basically, you're kind of stealing an idea, but in the best ways. You're not plagiarizing, you're not selling a product. It's not that type of thing. It's that you're looking and saying, hey, I see that, for example, an interview process I heard about recently of, as one of the ways that they interview, the third interview, they bring the person in and they have to do a presentation on their values. And I loved that. So that is an example of, thinking that's working for another company and applying it to your own. And it's so important for a small business, for consultants and coaches, because when you're running a small company, you often feel like you're the one that has to figure everything out, but you don't. So, some of the best systems used by large organizations can be adapted beautifully for smaller teams. And the one that I just mentioned, it's Cardone Ventures. They are a billion-dollar company, and it can absolutely be applied to a smaller business. And it's great too, because it helps you to be clear on what your values are and make sure that you're bringing people in that align with your values. And so there's all sorts of hidden benefits by hearing that idea and applying it to your own. So, part of our philosophy with Elephant Circle Management is to look for things that are working with other clients that we work with, and see how can that be adapted for someone else. What parts of that would make your organization stronger. And through all the work that I've gotten to do, I've been able to see how different structures can support growth, and how to create efficiencies and reduce chaos, and which habits actually help to scale and grow a business. So over time, I've realized, and you would too, to be able to know that no organization has all the answers. Overall, we all have to learn from one another, because collectively there's so much wisdom. And when ideas cross between different businesses, those businesses improve and teams become stronger. So, and when leaders stay curious about how others operate, they unlock better ways of working. And that's one of the things that I've really seen throughout the years with associations. I'll sit in the room, and a client in a specific industry will talk to their peers that run separate companies and hear how they're doing something, whether it's around how they're advertising or what they're thinking about from in a piece of equipment that they have in the room, or something that we've had a speaker come in and talk about. And you watch their brains go, and how they look at how are they going to apply it to their business. And it makes their business better. It makes their industry better from learning from one another. And that also can happen cross industries. So, one of the things that I really look for and have conversations around is how can you look at what else is out there and what other organizations are doing, and bring that back into the way you're building your business. And, I think most of the best ideas, they're not new. We may, even with AI, we are applying things that already exist and learning how to do it better. So, if any of this is resonating with you and you'd like to learn more about Elephant Circle Management and the types of things that we do, I would love it if you drop me a note, tell me what resonated. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next live. Thank you.